welcome to another episode of our Inner Sparks featured stories. I am Lily Yan, your host of this podcast and founder of our Inner Sparks Network, a network of ordinary women sharing our extraordinary stories. We all have so many inspiring women around us in our lives, our sisters, our neighbors, our friends, our mothers, our grandmothers, and our daughters. We need to acknowledge and celebrate each of these women's successes. Let's do that together. Let's use these opportunities as ways to inspire and empower each other and others. Join me to discover, embody, and share our inner sparks. In this episode, we will be meeting Florence Carmela, the brilliant woman behind the celebrity podcast, The Forum, a part of Jim Jax Media Network. With her partner Jim, Florence interviews various celebrities, writers, and musicians who talk about their careers, charities, professional and personal endeavors. The interviews are personable and upbeat. Florence and Jim's positive and supportive personalities make this podcast a great listen. Guests such as supermodel Kathy Ireland, actress, author Laura Cayouette, and celebrity chef Andy LoRusso were all featured on the forum in the past year. As I embark on this journey of our inner sparks, I can fully appreciate the amount of work that's required to put together a podcast, especially one with celebrities. Florence has a welcoming and engaging presence on this podcast and always asks inquisitive questions. Florence is hardworking and driven, and her passion for the work she does definitely shines through. I'm so thankful that Florence is willing to share her experience with the forum and her inspiring stories of how she got started. Let's tune in now. Hi, Florence. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hi, Lily. I'm so happy to be able to do this today. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, welcome to our Inner Sparks. Thank you so much for joining us and telling your story and sharing the inspiration that will help a lot of us to search for our passion and go for it.
Yes, it's so important in life to find your passion and to put everything you have into it and to making that dream a reality. I'm so about that. So that's why I was so happy when you asked me to do this.
Oh, excellent. I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time, and I know I have so much to learn from you, and I'm sure our listeners will be so happy to hear about your experience and your story behind all the things that you do today so passionately. Before we get to that, want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'll actually start from where this all started in the beginning. In my family, being my parents are from Italy, traditional Italian Catholic family, and parents right off the boat. Growing up, I was very sheltered, very protected. And basically, when it was time to decide what I wanted to do with my life and go to school and all that, it was pretty much, my dad, very protective, old-fashioned Italian, was like, well, either be a nurse or be a teacher. And I always felt like teaching was my first calling and working with children and all that. But really, I did have a passion inside of me to go even beyond that. I think education is a wonderful thing. Something my dad wanted for me. He wanted me to go to college and wanted me to have an education. But there was always that thing in the back of my mind that I wanted to go into broadcasting. I wanted to go into communications and journalism, and I wanted to interview people. It was just a passion of mine, but I never pursued it because I just never thought it was a possibility. It's just one of those things that really is a dream, and you keep it in that stage of a dream. It's not something you would go after or try to materialize into something, But then as I was getting older and spent many, many, many years literally dreaming about it, daydreaming and visualizing, because I'm a big visualizer. I love to see things that I want, and I love to sort of in my mind play it out how it's going to be. And, it was around Christmas time, right before the new year. I said, you know what? I had a big birthday coming up. And I said, you know what? I am going to try to get a job at a radio station. And you know what, Lily? I didn't care if I was pouring coffee. I didn't care if I was holding the door open for people. I didn't care if I was going out for bagels. I just thought, I just want to be there, even if it means I can only do it on the weekends, because obviously I didn't want to quit my day job.
Right.
There's a lot of security in a day job.
Yeah.
There's benefits, full time, a paycheck you can count on. And I knew nothing about radio. I knew nothing about being at a radio station. I knew nothing about that life. But I thought, God, if I could just get my foot in the door. So one day I was on Twitter and I looked up some of my radio stations that I grew up listening to, some of the local stations, and they all had Twitter accounts. And I started DMing and saying, so what would somebody do who's had a dream of being in radio, who has absolutely no background? How would they pursue it? How would they get into it? And long story short, the promotions director, who didn't tell me he was the promotions director, actually DM'd me back and just said, well, why don't you send your resume to some radio stations and see what happens? And I was honest. I said, I have nothing to put on a resume other than, the job that I've had for the past, 20, 25 years. I don't have any experience in radio. It's just a dream. And he said, you know what, then? Maybe that'll be enough. If I were you, I would send your resume. So then I said, well, can you give me the name of the person? And he gave me his name, not saying it was him, but he said, yeah, the person. And it wasn't until I had my face-to-face interview after the new year, I had to wait a couple of weeks, that he told me it was him. He goes, you were talking to me the whole time.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, I thought it was an intern because it kind of led me to believe that his job was just the social media. So again, long story short, because it is kind of a long story, he just loved my passion and my drive. Because I asked him months later after he hired me, I said, Anthony, what made you want to hire me? Someone who had absolutely no experience in this and absolutely no business being here or even trying out for this. He's like, I've hired people who had a great resume. I've hired people who went to school for this. I've hired people who I thought would be perfect for this, and none of them ever worked out. And I just want to add, I'm also much older than the people he's hired, because he hired people out of college, and I am far from, a college girl. He said, but you had the passion. He goes, you were so excited to be in the studio. He goes, when I was taking you around to all the different studios, all the different shows are taped in, and you got behind the microphone. He goes, I wanted to cry for you because you really just were so emotional and so happy. You were so excited. And I told him that day, I said, my dream is to be able to interview celebrities and have my own show. And he was just like, well, you're hired. He's like, I can't promise you that's going to happen, but I definitely can promise you that you can learn here and see where it goes. So he told me, because I have a position in promotions and marketing department, which is not what I wanted at all. It's not anything I was thinking about. But you know what? I had said it from the beginning. I'll pour coffee. I'll open doors. And yeah, I'll do promotions. I'll do whatever I have to do just to be here and be around it and learn from you people. And he loved that I said that. He's like, it is, again, I'm not 20 something. So for somebody my age who's saying, I want to learn, I need to learn this. I need to take this in. And that's what I did. And he took me to all the live events with him. We just had a blast. We had a great time. It's a lot of hard work. Sometimes I'd have to be at the radio station on a Saturday and a Sunday at 6 a.m. And sometimes I'd be there till 6 o'clock at night, because we go off and do live events. We do things for like Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. We do ticket giveaways, concert promotions. We promote the radio station. We go to all these cool events and stuff. So literally it would be maybe a 10 or 12-hour day, a very long day, and you're on your feet. And, I'm kind of shy by nature, and I'm not a very outgoing or social person. So for me, this was hard because I had to shake a lot of hands. I had to talk to a lot of people. A couple times he gave me the camera or gave me the microphone and said, go talk to people, go find out. And I'm like, what? Anthony, I can't do that. He's like, yeah, you can, because this is the job. And I was like, you know what? I said I would do anything. And I meant it when I said it.
Well,
And
I
you
think
know,
that's what you proved it with your actions. You actually literally did whatever it took
yeah,
to make it
and
happen.
and it was hard because, like I said, I had no business being, I did not know what I was doing, but I learned so much, Lily. And you know what's funny? The entire time I was there, I kept saying, I really want my own show. I really want to interview. I really want to do this. I really want to do that. But now, fast forward to what I'm doing with the Jim Jax Media Network.
Right.
I'm doing promotions and marketing. I'm marketing celebrities. I'm promoting music and books and movies and TV shows. And I'm on the forum, which Jim was wonderful in offering me this show to co-host with him and being part of this amazing network that literally made all my dreams come true. Like the radio
Oh,
station, great learning. I mean, I learned so much. It was a great place to start. And like I said, they put me in the promotions department. The whole time I kept saying to myself, this isn't what I want to be doing, but I'm learning. And you know what? I'm applying everything I learned there now to the forum, the Jim Jax Media Network, to interviewing, to marketing, promoting. It's just so funny how life works out, because if you would have told me a year ago this all would have happened, I never would have believed you.
You brought up Jim already, and I want to make a shout out to him. We love you too, Jim.
Amazing.
And it's so awesome to hear your story and his involvement in that, and not only him but also Anthony, seeing the passion within you and seeing your capability. Jim has said many times with me that you have a great story to tell. So I'm like, okay, well, Jim, talk to Florence, see if she would be able to come to our Inner Sparks podcast, because I would love to hear this inspirational story. You just sent chills through my whole body, like just telling me that. It's so exciting to hear that someone who has that passion, has that drive, and when the opportunity opens up, is ready to
Yes.
take the opportunity on. And it's just amazing to hear that. And I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you. But that's a good point you just made, when opportunity presents itself, because there's let's say two things that I sort of live by now. One is, when opportunity knocks, open the damn door, number one. And number
Yep.
two, if the opportunity isn't there, create it for yourself.
Oh, I
And
love
let me
that.
tell you, meeting Jim was a godsend, because, again, I was at the radio station learning so many wonderful things and meeting so many wonderful people. I mean, working with DJs and, like I said, the promotions department, doing the live events, meeting, celebrities and all that. But it wasn't until I met Jim, and he had put together the Jim Jax Media Network. Actually, when we became friends on Twitter, he was in the process of it. So I feel wonderful in knowing that I got to see him put it all together, and I got to see his passion, and I got to see his
Great.
excitement and his drive. Because let me tell you, he is the brains behind everything. He is the director, the producer, the editor. He is an amazing host. He is extremely smart. Um, he inspires me. And
Mm-hmm.
he really made me believe that everything I've ever wanted, I could have. And that's why I say, obviously, when opportunity presents itself, because I feel it was a godsend, him coming into my life. It was the right time. It was perfect timing,
Right.
but the opportunity was there, and I went for it, as scared as I was. And he will tell you, I had a lot to learn in the beginning, and thank God he was able to teach me, but then also create the opportunities that aren't offered to you. Create what you need in life. Because I was even told at the radio station, if you're waiting for these DJs to leave, if you're waiting for a show to have a spot to open up, these guys are going to retire here. And it is like a boys club, pretty much. There was mostly men, and they were much older, because, like I said, their whole careers were at this radio station, and they weren't planning on going anywhere. And I had a couple of people say to me, you may need to go somewhere else to fulfill those needs you have to interview and have
Right.
your own show. And I met Jim, and all the doors opened up after that. It was amazing how it happened. And I was so scared. I was so excited, but I was so scared. Definitely naive to many things. Did not know as much as I thought I did. But
Mm-hmm.
Jim is always there to lead me in the right direction. And he just always knows what's good for us. He always knows, he just knows what he wants. And it's a really important thing, to be with someone who has the same vision as you, but his vision was even clearer and it was bigger. His vision was even bigger. To put a network together
Right.
and to be doing it all is
Right.
pretty amazing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of in awe of him a lot of the time, because it's like, I can't believe when we first started talking on Twitter, this was just an idea he had. This whole
Right.
thing was just an idea. And he literally made it happen. He made it come to life. And now, a
Right.
year later, we have interviewed some of the most amazing celebrities and people that I just never thought I would ever connect with or ever meet and interview and be able to promote them. And I'm so humbled. Oh,
You guys are doing such a great job. Like I've listened to quite a few episodes of yours, and you guys are so supportive of the efforts people are going through, and their transformations, for example, or their philanthropy. So some of these celebrities and writers and singers, they are not only doing things in their own field, but they're also doing more in the community. And you're
yes.
bringing some of those stories to light, and that's beautiful in itself. Yeah.
Yeah. When I started my website, one of the things that really drove me when I interviewed these celebrities, and sometimes I'd have to go through managers and social media people, and oh my God, sometimes it took months to get to the person.
Right.
And sometimes the interviews were done on the phone. Sometimes they were done in a podcast form. They were being taped. Other times they were done through emails and DMs. I would send out questions. They would answer them. Sometimes even on, like right now with you, Skype. There's so many different ways to do it. And what I love, again, is that when I would talk to these people, they would have these amazing, like you said, the philanthropy, these amazing foundations, these
Yes.
amazing things they were doing. It wasn't just about their next movie or their next book or the next album they're putting out. Like you said, it was just so exciting to hear, how they were helping the homeless, how they were
Yes.
feeding people, the hungry, someone like Marie Osmond, who I have just been such a fan of. And she's such a philanthropist, and I just hold her in such high regard. Same thing with Kathy Ireland. The stuff these women do, I mean, Kathy Ireland was this amazing supermodel,
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't rest on her laurels. And she's this very intelligent, sophisticated woman, just like Marie Osmond, very talented, but
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to do more with their life. And I really hold them in very high regard and feel that, for women, especially for young girls, young women, they're really people to emulate and people to look up
Yes.
to. It's just so exciting for me.
It's great for the audience to hear that because it's unlike a lot of shows, a lot of entertainment shows with the celebrities. They really just focus on the career of the actor or the singer in, like you said, the next piece of music or the next movie that they're in, and not so much to this part of their life. And I think you guys dig really into it and really at a personal level have that conversation and openness and really brings out the almost the human behind the face that we all know, and we don't get an opportunity to hear normally in other shows. So I thank you guys for that. It's wonderful.
Well, really, again, I have to hand that to Jim, because even though when I started with my website, which was before the forum, and I was doing those articles on the foundations and like Marie Osmond's Children's Hospital and John Bon Jovi and his wife doing these amazing restaurants and, building homes for the homeless and feeding the hungry, um, Jim took it to a next level because he said to me, okay, this is great. You're doing these articles for your website. It's wonderful. Let's get the interviews on tape. Let's do a podcast. Let's bring this to the next level and really delve deep, really, really get into it. And I
Mhm.
remember the first one was Rosanna Arquette. And unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties. So we weren't able to get it on tape, but I did this amazing interview with her. She talked about her sister who had passed away, and she's such a supporter of the LGBT community, and her whole family, the Arquettes, all of them, David and Rosanna, and just all of them, even Patricia, who's an Academy Award winning actress, so supportive of what we were doing. And she even said to me, she gave me her blessing after the interview. She's like, please do this article, put it on my website. And the whole family came out and supported it, retweeted it, gave us shout outs, gave us thank yous. And I'll be honest with you, I knew then how right Jim was, that he said, we got to take this to the next level. Doing the articles are great. He was always so supportive of my articles, always so supportive of me wanting to talk about the philanthropy, wanting to talk about the other things they were doing. I mean, obviously they're talented. They have these amazing careers, but they also have this other side to them. They're very good people wanting to do very good work. And I was trying to shine a spotlight on that.
Yeah.
And Jim said, let's take it to the next level, though. Let's do a podcast and really share these stories. And you know what? He was so right, because our podcast, I mean, God, sometimes we get thousands and thousands of people listening. And again, it's just amazing how it just started a year ago.
Oh, I
And we
know.
got to this point. And again, I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful to our followers, to our listeners. I'm so humbled by just the reaction and the positivity that we're getting back from people. Because I always believe in putting positivity out there. And as far as you had said before about people realizing their dreams and how we support that, we support that 1,000%. If somebody has a dream and someone likes trying to be a writer, like we have these amazing writers that are part of our network. And I tell you, just knowing that that is a dream of theirs, to put that book out, to be an author, we couldn't be more excited for them and for all their, success. Jackie Anders and Ella Clark and just amazing. Even Emmy Lentino, who's this amazing, talented singer, and she's a songwriter and a musician, and she's an actress, and, she's beautiful, and she just has it all. And to be able to assist her in any way is so humbling for us, that these very talented people want to be part of what we're doing. Feel so amazing about it. And I know if Jim was here right now, he would say the same thing, that we owe so much, not just to our guests and not just to the people who let us support that dream, but to the listeners, to the followers. And any chance I get, I'm always saying thank you, because I think it's just such a huge thing to put it out there, pay it forward. Yeah.
And totally. And you guys both show that, and the positivity, like you said, and the supportiveness. And it's just been an amazing experience, just getting to know you and getting to know Jim as well.
We feel the same way about you and Cher. We feel the same way. We say Cher and Lil are the best. Cher and Lil are so wonderful. Cher and Lil are so professional. We love Cher and Lil. So we have been fans of yours for a very long time.
Oh, we appreciate that too. So like you said, you guys only been doing this for a year, and your show's been well received and a lot of great feedback. Tell us, maybe, is there a favorite moment within the last year that to you was most inspirational?
I will say what we did with the Arquettes, what we did for their beloved sister that passed away. She was transgendered, and we felt very strongly about doing the article. Jim was so supportive, and Rosanna Arquette was wonderful to want to do the interview and for me to write this article. And like I said, the whole family came out publicly to support it on every social media platform. They thanked us. They retweeted it. They shared it. They made sure it got out there. And this went on for months, and it just made me feel so good, because it was really the first one where publicly people took notice in a larger scale, a much larger, more than I ever anticipated. I would say being able to do that for them made me feel really good. And I know it made Jim feel good. And the second moment, I would say, was probably when we spoke to Ellen DeGeneres on the phone, because I did not see that coming. That wasn't a planned thing. Yeah, we were speaking with Chef Andy LoRusso, who we had interviewed a couple of times, and Chef was in California at the time. And Chef had worked with, Donnie and Marie and John Travolta, the Beach Boys. He's a celebrity chef. He's been in this business for a very long time. And one day we were talking with him on the phone and, sort of setting up, the next interview, what was coming up next with him, talking about his cookbook, which we were trying, to help him promote and all that. And he was literally just hanging out. I want to say it was a coffee shop or outside of a coffee shop. And I know it was a place he would frequent regularly. And of course, in California, you're going to meet famous people. Jim knows a lot of famous people. You know a lot of celebrities when you're out there. Right. And he saw Ellen. Ellen pulled up and he just said, Ellen, I want you to meet my friends, Jim and Florence. They're doing this amazing podcast. And I'd like you to meet them and say hello. And she took the phone and she wished us well and said hi and thought it was amazing what we were doing. And I was
that's lovely.
And starstruck. Jim had to talk to her because Jim's like, Florence, are you there? It's like, it's like I said, when I know I'm going to be interviewing a celebrity, when we know what's coming up, I'm very prepared, do my research. Jim's always prepared, does his research. We talk about it. We make sure, we're ready. There's no surprise. Mm-hmm. This day, I did not expect to be talking to Ellen DeGeneres on the phone, and it will always be probably one of the best surprises that's ever come out of any of this. And I just think, again, so many people love her. She's an inspiration to so many people. She does so many wonderful things. Yes. And, I love her show. And again, it was just a fun thing. The thing with the Arquettes, that was special because I felt like we were really paying tribute to their sister and really helping the family heal, if that makes sense, and getting the story out. But this with Ellen was I just thought, my God, this is a story. This is just like bragging rights. It's a story to tell.
But it's the fun part of this job, right? So like you said, you're in that world, and then having this happen just like in the moment when you're talking to somebody and she shows up, that's amazing.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Again, timing, opportunity knocked again, and we have to always thank Chef Andy for that. Always have to give it up to Andy because he didn't have to do that, but he was saying hi to her. He was there with her, and he just wanted to give us that moment. So again, we've met wonderful people along the way, and definitely, always part of the family. That's another thing. Once you're part of our family, you're always part of the family. Once we've embraced you and once you've supported us, because, it is mutual. The support is mutual. We'll always support you. We don't just support that show for that day or support that article for that week. It's an ongoing thing. Jim always said, it's important that the support and the positivity is there. And I think the celebrities know that with us, that we're very positive and we give the support.
I do see that too. Talking a lot about the things that you do outside the show, right? So it's not just, because I think a lot of people think that when you do a podcast, it's a recording of a conversation, kind of like what we're just doing, right? And people, and I'm talking about like people who actually do podcasts, but also people who are aspiring to do podcasts, or people who are listening to podcasts sometimes think that, it's pretty easy. You just kind of record a conversation. But it's not that simple. It has a lot of work behind it. Like you mentioned, you and Jim do extensive research, and it comes through in your interviews. It's not just about the show, but you are actually going beyond the show. And once you're embracing that, whether it's a show or a person, an actor or a writer, once in your supportive family, you are going above and beyond the show to do a lot of promotional work, right? Not just for your own show, but for them as well.
Absolutely. It is. And Jim and I have talked about this all the time. You have to have a strong work ethic. It's a 24/7 job. And like I said, we have day jobs. We have full-time jobs. Jim's in the medical field and I'm in education. So we have other jobs, and obviously we have families, and we just have, everyone has a life. But we both made that commitment that if we're going to do this, we're going to put out the best product. We're going to do the best job. And again, I give it to Jim because, yeah, I do research and I do co-host with him. And I love the promotion and the marketing that comes before, during, and after. And he would tell you that if he was here. Love, love, love the promotion. Love the social media. But really, again, I mean, Jim produces, directs. He does the editing, which is a labor. I mean, it is not an easy thing. It takes hours and hours and days, sometimes depending on what it is. I mean, he's very quick compared to what other people have told me. And
Mm-hmm.
he's just very dedicated. He's very good. He's very precise. He knows what he wants. I always say to people, it's good to have a vision. It's good to have your dream. It's good to obviously to have that passion, but you need the work ethic. You do.
Yes.
You need to work. This does not fall in your lap. This is not given to anyone. And like I said, it was a godsend meeting him. And for him to offer this to me was, again, it was such a gift. But oh my
I
God,
think you need to pat
so
yourself on the shoulder a little bit more, Florence, because from what I hear from Jim is that you are just amazing at what you do, and you do so much more than we can actually see visually. And he's actually asked me to observe what you do on the social media, and let me tell you, I have been observing lately, and I'm super impressed. Like the stuff that you do on there is just amazing, and again, it's so positive, so supportive, and it's not really just about promoting the show and what you and Jim do on the network level, but really supporting the people that are in the network and supporting the artists that you have interviewed. Yeah, to me, I think you guys are doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you
And,
so much.
and you especially, like, I think, I know Jim is an amazing guy, but I think you are a phenomenal lady.
I feel the same way about you as well. Because like I said, we're big fans of yours. So I was very humbled when you asked me to do this. I even said to Jim the other night, I'm like, God, I hope I don't disappoint. I hope that I'm not boring. I hope that the story is what, she's hoping it will be. But yeah, I just have a passion for this. And I think that passion plus hard work, I think it comes together. It doesn't always come together the way you think. John Bon Jovi had this saying, penciling in what you want your future to be. Never do it in pen or marker. You pencil it in, because it changes and it comes in different forms, and you go in different directions, and it's kind of like a puzzle,
Yeah.
but you don't really know exactly what it's going to turn out to be. You're kind of putting the pieces together and kind of going toward what feels good. And like you said, the opportunities, the doors opening. If it's not opening to you, you kind of create the path.
I
So
love what you're just saying right now, and that's how I'm feeling with our inner sparks. It's literally, I
right.
have a higher calling, a
Yes.
vision, but
Yes.
it's so high up there, but it's like a puzzle. And as
Yes.
I'm working it, as I'm talking to more people in the network, more pieces start to be discovered, and then I'm starting to put them together and slide them closer. And it's like, oh well, this, like you said, feels good, or this looks right. And then you move towards that direction, right? And things are evolving, and it's becoming even bigger than I thought it would be. Really, to be honest with you, I, like, when I first started, I was like, okay, I want to do more things that's local. I can't believe that I'm like talking to people who like are more internationally known, and also,
That's
people who are
amazing.
like you, talking to celebrities. And honestly, it's just been an amazing journey. And like you said, really, at the end of the day, it's just, you have that vision and you're allowing yourself to kind of let the opportunities kind of happen around you, and then put it
Yeah,
together, the puzzle. Yeah,
absolutely. It is. And I love your interviews. I've already gone to YouTube and watched your interviews. I just love the interviews. I love the visual. I just love what you're doing. And
oh, thank
the more I was watching the interviews and the more I was talking to Jim about it, and Jim's like, this is going to explode. This is going to be huge. Jim's like,
you.
it's going to be huge. This is going to be a big deal. And I feel that too. I feel that. You can feel that in people. This is, I believe, for you, a calling. It's going to bring
Oh,
you where you need to be. And Jim and I have had those moments too where we've sort of turned a little bit on in the road, or, gone in one direction a little more, went this way, and it felt right. And it just, again, it's another piece to the puzzle. And I think that when you sort of feel your way, and like I said, when it feels good and it's taking it to a new place and adding a new layer, taking it to the next level, you're on the right track. He and I, we talk a lot about this to make sure we're both on the same page. We're both feeling good about where we're going. And again, because he runs a whole network. It's not just our show. It's not just the forum. It's By the Moonlight Riders podcast. It's the sports, the shows for the football teams. It's Jax Confidential, which is a really wonderful podcast that he does. And I've co-hosted with him, like we've done a few of them together. But really, it's just amazing. In a little over a year, because we started a year ago in January. We thought this would take years. We even said, probably take a couple of years, at least 2 or 3, to really get our footing, get our name out there, because for celebrities especially, they don't always know who they can trust. And they don't always know, who's going to paint them in a bad light, who's going to maybe ask questions that they really don't want to answer, or maybe, because we've had celebrities say, one of the things about us that they absolutely love is it is a safe place. We definitely want to always put a positive light and a positive spin on everything. And I think that comes across because whenever we've talked to celebrities and gotten to know them, I mean, some of them, it's not just that we talk to them the day of the podcast. You then have relationships, you become friends, you have this relationship where it's just ongoing. Like I said, the support is ongoing. And we've had that with quite a few people. And, when we learn from them and they learn from us. And the one thing that's always said is they just really, really feel good after the interview. They don't feel like they were taken advantage of, or there was no negativity or no judgment, So again, I think that when people know it's a safe place, they want to be there.
Yeah, it's a positive support system. It just feels right, and that's the network in itself is that.
That's all Jim. He set that tone. He wanted to make sure that the people we interviewed obviously had a good story, getting them to trust us.
Right.
And once they started to, it just went on from there. And I think word of mouth also. I think also on social media, like you said, people, you see what I'm doing there. You see what Jim's doing. You see what we're doing. It's all positive. And again, who doesn't want that, in their life? It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity. You could be anybody. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. I think everybody needs positivity. Everyone needs a lift. Everyone needs to feel like, what they're doing is good. It's working. It's valuable. It's making a person feel valuable. And I think that, again, Jim wanted that from the beginning. Only positivity, because sometimes people say, oh, you guys are so clean cut. Oh, you guys, so this and that. And it's like, you know what, though? Again, it shows professionalism.
And sometimes I feel that's the positivity that you're talking about and being professional, what you're talking about. A lot of times that is missing. People want it to see more of that. And they are actually thirsty for it and hungry for it. So when they actually see a show like this that is professionally done, well researched, well conducted, and the guests are great people that are telling amazing, inspiring stories, who doesn't want to hear that, right? People are hungry for that these days. Do you have anything that you like to share that is really the biggest challenge since you started doing the forum?
Okay, Jim's an amazing guy. I adore Jim. I love Jim. But every once in a while, and he would say this is true, I'll come up with an idea for a guest or somebody who I already know from social media who's been very sweet, very supportive, DMing, following, and again, a celebrity. And he's just like, they're not for us. Even though this person wants to be on the show. he'll say no, and he's turned people away that are on like hit TV shows and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, no, see, Jim has a lot of connections. Jim's networked his whole life, his whole career. He knows a lot of people, and a lot of people really respect him online.
Right.
He has that major following for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and you know what? When I think back about it, and we talk about this a lot, I could see why he made the decisions he's made. Maybe at the moment I kind of feel like, oh, you're killing me here because this person really wants to be on the show and they're
Right.
so nice to me. And oh my God, I don't want to upset them. Because my thing is I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't like
Yeah.
saying no to people. That's just not in my personality. And I always feel so bad.
Mm-hmm. That is
It's
actually one of the big thing I think a lot of women struggle with too. Like, and I don't want to generalize because I'm sure a lot of women don't have that problems either, right? Yeah. But I find myself too. It's just how do you say no to people? You want to be liked and you want people to
yes,
like you, right? And so very often, you get kind of into the mode of just doing it or saying yes. You have to have the higher vision. So I think whatever you said about the whatever Jim's bigger vision is, it makes sense. You need to have that. You need to
yes,
you hold pedestal and you say this is what we are about. And
yes.
then when something comes, an opportunity comes over, and you can actually say, does it align with that value? Because if it does, then yes, we are more than happy to do this. But if it doesn't, then it's not for us. And I think it's a very brave thing to be saying.
It's been easier, and I definitely in the beginning found it difficult. Like you said, it's a very brave thing to do that because I know a lot of people who, they're doing podcasts and, they're interviewing and, oh my God, you turned that person down. Oh my God, he said no to that.
Oh,
Yeah. They just look at you like, are you serious?
maybe a lot of people don't know this. I mean, you partner with them so much and so cohesively as one, right? And people don't know you guys are like far apart in terms of
Yes.
geography. You have 3 hours of time differences. How
Yes.
do you find that?
We've had time to iron out, all the bumps in the road. Obviously, a 3-hour difference could be an issue. We made the decision that probably doing interviews on the weekend would work best, especially because we both have full-time jobs. His hours are quite crazy. He's in the medical field. A lot of the guests are in California, so they're on his time. So for me, it just seemed to work best when we did it on the weekends. We always try to do them on Saturday or even Sunday, an occasional Friday night if that's what's best for the guest. But yeah, he is very far, but we always just managed to make it work. Like right now, without giving any names away, we have somebody that we're talking to set up an interview who's in Australia. They're on the other side of the world.
Oh,
You
yes.
know, me and Jim have a major time difference as it is, and then you add Australia to that. So
Yeah.
we're going to figure it out because we really want this person to be part of our show. We want to interview them. We like them. We like their show. We like what they do, what they represent. And we just said, it's okay. We're going to make this work. So again, when there's a will, there's a way.
Very well said. When there's a will, there's a way. You just have to find, you'll find
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you have any tricks or tips that you would share with someone who is thinking of starting a podcast or somebody who's like, new to it?
Jim and I both have been told the way we're doing things is not the way you do it. It works for us and it's successful for us. It's where we want to be. It's actually beyond what I ever thought. Jim knew, he always said, this is going to explode. This is going to happen. And he's always right when he says that. So look out because he said that about you. But,
Oh, that's
but
sweet.
definitely you got to go with what works for you. Really, you do. You have to go with what feels right, and what feels right for you may not feel right for other people and vice versa, because we've always been told, oh, you're not doing it the way people normally do it. Well, that's okay because this is working.
Who's to say what's supposed to happen?
Even Facebook, like look at the social media, look what's going on, look at Twitter. Don't you think there was someone who told these guys That's not how you do it. That's never going to work.
Right.
That's not going to be
Or
successful.
no one's ever done this before. Well, yeah, that's right.
You know,
Because we want to do something that's original.
you know how many times Oprah Winfrey was told that? Like, what are you doing? Nobody's going to watch you on a talk show. Nobody's going to, listen to you. Who are you? Nobody knows who and look what happened.
Yeah.
You got to be the first. It's okay to be the first. It's okay if we're not doing it the way other people do. We're doing it our way, and we know what works for us, and that's fine.
That's confidence, right? This is us. Yes. That's awesome. So what's next for Florence?
Well, hopefully more of the same, because I am enjoying what we're doing. The network, like I said, it's not just me and him. There's a lot of other people to consider. Right. So he, again, Jim puts women in the forefront. He's so supportive of women.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's so true.
All the women on our network to shine. He wants all of us to be successful. He really, really supports women. Absolutely, 100%. I would say that's one of the best things about him. He wants you to shine. He puts you out in front. That's how he is.
Yes, and it's through action, not just through saying the things that seemingly very appreciative, but in his action. So I'm totally appreciative as well. Like I observed it for a while, and it's so true. He's super supportive of women.
Yeah, you don't find that of a lot of men, especially when they're in this field doing the broadcasting, the social media, the promotions, the podcasting, all that we're doing. You pay it forward. And that's what we both do.
Yes, and love it. Nice. In our last segment, In Search of True Fulfillment, I'll ask you 3 questions. And for each of these questions, you can give me a quick short answer with 10 words or a sentence on these topics. First question, how do you define success?
I define success by the thing that makes your heart sing, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning, puts a bounce in your step. Not money, even though money's important, gives you peace of mind. I believe it's something that gets you going. It's just, there's just an excitement, a passion. I think that means you're successful.
Oh, I love that. The passion is what really fulfills you.
Every day. Yes, get you out of bed in the morning, get you excited about life.
What makes you happy in life?
What makes me happy is being around people that bring me joy, that accept me unconditionally, just the way I am, flaws and all. Feeling love, giving love, being positive, being a support to people, doing in life the things that I've always wanted to do. And hey, if other people can benefit from that, then even more so, even better.
Wonderful. Yes. And I think you're, like you said, creating an environment in which you're doing all that and fulfilling happiness.
I try.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so what is one thing that you would like the listeners to take away from your story to ignite their own inner sparks?
I would say, don't think because you're of a certain age or a certain point in your life that you can't follow your dream, that you can't do the things you want to do. There's always a way to do what your heart feels. When you can't stop thinking about it, you got to do something. You got to do something. Make a step, even if it's a small step. You don't have to go change your whole life overnight. Take a baby step. It'll get you a step closer to where you need to be.
Love what you said. Go after your dreams. And Florence, I think you're doing a wonderful job in whatever you're doing with Jim and the network. And oh my gosh, and you're living the dream. And, I am so happy for you. And I'm so thankful that you're spending your time with us and sharing that story. And I really do hope that others can hear the success in your story and be able to take that and empower themselves to go after their dream, like you said, So thank you so much. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you. I'm so honored that you asked me to do this. I'm so flattered. I support everyone who's following their dream and who's, trying to be successful in life and do the things that they really want to do. So I love that you're doing this. I think it's amazing that you're doing this. And I just, I am so humbled that you asked me. And I hope that, that people will maybe, make them want to, maybe put a spark under them. And maybe my story will make them want to pursue their own dream.
Absolutely. I wish you and Jim and the network great success. Thank you so much for your time and for your support as well.
Oh, thank you, Lily. I enjoyed this so much, and I really, really appreciate you asking me to do this. So thank you very much.
Please give Florence, the Forum, and Jim Jax Media a follow on Twitter and Instagram. Check out Florence and Jim's many wonderful interviews on their podcast, The Forum. I will be putting all of their social media and podcast links in the show notes. The Jim Jax Media Network will soon be releasing podcasts and live shows on YouTube, so please keep updated on those through their social media feeds. If you enjoy our Inner Sparks contents, I encourage you to subscribe and follow and share with your friends and family. Your thoughts on this episode is encouraged on all our social media sites, which are listed in the podcast description. We'll have some engaging questions on the social media sites about topics touched upon within this podcast, where you can interact with one another. Feel free to share your own related experiences, what you have learned from this podcast, and what you will take away as actions. Please always exercise mutual respect as we interact with one another. This network is a safe place for everyone to learn and grow. If you have any feedback on this podcast, the social media sites, and this network as a whole, please feel free to email me at ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Should you or someone in your life have an inspiring story you would like to see shared in our network, please feel free to email me with a nomination for future features. Thank you for listening to this episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Stories.